Headline News Service to learn more. Tune in here for National Native News.
Weekdays at 5:55 on KSJE Farmington. KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, here to meet your urgent and emergent medical needs, whether they are COVID-19 related or not. Medical emergencies happen when you least expect them. Whether it's a stroke, heart attack, illness, or injury, San Juan Regional Medical Center's caregivers are here to provide care to you and your loved ones. Find out more online at sanjuanregional.com. Eleven minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Thursday morning, October 29th. Good morning, everybody. I'm Scott Michlin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM over the air here in San Juan County, 103.3 FM over the air now in Durango, Colorado, and streaming everywhere this morning on our website, ksje.com. Welcome also to our viewers who are watching our visual radio program. We are streaming live this morning to the KSJE Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and also our Twitter account. We're glad to have you with us as well, everybody. Coming up this morning, we'll be talking with Analytical Technologies. Ken Augustine is here to talk about his company that is up at the Quality Center for Business here at San Juan College. We'll learn more about what they are doing in some of the more rural parts of San Juan County in the next few moments right here on KSJE, so stay tuned for that. Coming up next hour, it is our local community information program about COVID-19. Megan Cullip will be joining me here in Studio A. We'll have more information on some local companies that are assisting homeowners and renters. Also, information about COVID patients who are recovering from COVID-19. And a special mystery guest on the program this morning coming up at 9 a.m. It is streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. You can listen to a rebroadcast on the radio this afternoon at 5:06 on KSJE and KSJE.com. On the radio at 9 this morning, it is Roving with the Arts. Mick Hess is joining us at 9:06 after the news, of course. He is playing music from the French album, Jorge Osorio, coming up this morning, 9:06 on KSJE. And don't forget, of course, in addition to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, you can also connect with KSJE on Instagram as well. Let's talk about the weather for just a moment. Weather forecast for today, warming up. Mostly sunny skies, 58 degrees for a high on this Thursday, 28 and clear overnight tonight. It'll be mostly sunny tomorrow, the high of 61 on Friday, 62 for a high on Saturday, and down to 31 Saturday night, 62 again on Sunday and Monday, maybe mid-60s in the middle of next week, but overnight lows still clear and still down to near freezing 30 degrees. And we always tell you that visual radio can take you places. We'll take you up to Wyoming this morning, a foggy Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where we can see a little bit of maybe some fog in the air, maybe some flurries in the air as well. The town square in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where the current temperature, if you're interested, right now is about 21 degrees in Jackson Hole at the moment, on our way to a high of 48 today and an overnight low of 20 tonight. Compared to here in Farmington, it is 31 degrees here at San Juan College. So let me turn to my guest, who is here with me this morning to talk about his business, Analytical Technologies. Ken Augustine is back in the studio, and good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, Scott. How you doing?
I am well, thank you. Thanks for coming in and being here. How are things going?
Everything's going well. Everybody's safe. I'm safe. Everybody's healthy, so I can't ask for any more.
That's good. But your business is going gangbusters, too. We were talking before we came on the air this morning, right?
Yeah, it's pretty unexpected, but everything seems to be going really well. Everything's going up. We're not in the red, so that's good.
That's always good, right? There you go. And so talk to me a little bit about Analytical Technologies. You are up at the Quality Center for Business and the Business Incubator up there, right? The Enterprise Center. And you're on year number 2, correct?
Yes. We're actually year number 2. We just passed year number 2 in September, October. So that was our anniversary. We absolutely love it up there. The staff that's there, the resources that are available are tremendous, absolutely amazing. I don't think that we could have gotten as far as we have without their support.
And the resources that you're talking about, again, for designed for startup businesses like yours, and they provide what types of things? Give us some idea.
They do general business support. If you need help with how to run financing for business, how to pay your taxes, all the baseline information needed to run a business, they have everything available for you. They have workshops available just about every month. Well, before the pandemic hit, they had them every month.
Right.
They're a little bit stretched out nowadays, but they still do have them. They have them virtually now.
But those resources are still available
Absolutely,
to you, right?
Yeah. I usually speak with Carmen Martinez at the SBDC.
Small Business Development Center, right?
Yep. I'll send her an email, and she'll respond right back. Boom.
Nice.
And then I call her up, and she answers every single time. So.
Very good. And so your business then, talk to me a little bit about what you do. For folks who didn't see our previous conversation earlier in the year,
Sure.
I think it was, you are working with solar technology and taking it out onto some very rural areas, right?
Yes, we are. Actually, it's a recent endeavor that we've taken on. We started actually developing a solar charging unit that's meant to charge mobile devices.
Right, that's the latest thing.
That's
right?
the latest thing. That is the most latest thing.
I'm going to show a video while you're talking about
sure.
it too, right? Okay.
It's a standalone unit. Sits by itself. It can be placed just about anywhere there is sunlight. It's meant to be outdoors, not indoors. My general idea was for the purpose of high school graduation. So like at Ricketts Park, everybody knows how it's packed there, and people are there, and the sun is right and bright. Well, I kind of thought, well, what happens with people who run out of batteries in their cell phones? They don't have the brick charger that they can plug into the wall, and a 120 volt is not very accessible.
Sure.
So this device here actually has 8 USB ports. So if you have a cable, you just plug right into it and charge your cell phone right then and there.
There you go.
So
and that and you can put it anywhere, as you mentioned, right?
Anywhere,
so that's
yeah.
the idea. And you're working with the tribe and some chapter houses.
Yeah. So this unit actually, the first unit that we built is actually going to Nananazad chapter house.
This one we see here on the screen, this
yes,
actual one, right?
That is theirs. We put the unit there to do our videos and our promotions and whatnot, to kind of show people what we're making.
Nice. And so this is kind of the next step from what you started with, and that was kind of a streetlight project, right? Or just an electric solar light project, right?
Yeah. So we did some research on some solar streetlights, and we had a client approach us, asking us, well, can you light up our parking lot? So we went and we reached out to the vendor and had some photometrics done, conducted of the area, and they recommended use this light. So what brought that on was that the client indicated to us that they were spending $3,500 a month to light up the parking lot.
For just regular old electric parking lot street lights,
yes,
basically, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they wanted to cut their costs.
Yeah.
Everybody's wanting to decrease
Right.
their costs.
No kidding. Okay.
We said, yeah, absolutely. And there was initial investment, as with everything else, and we put up the lights on Friday.
Okay.
On last Friday.
Another video of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're talking about.
This is the one this is the one with the actual install.
Right. Because I was going to say, it sounds like, this store, this shopping area had streetlights, but they were part of the electric grid, so they had to pay every month that charge, right, to
Yes.
light up their parking lot for security and what have you, and
Yes,
safety.
the current lights that are there are extremely inefficient. And
Right.
Yeah, the lights that we installed are LEDs. They can run up to 3 or 4 days without sunlight.
Well, that's
without
good.
being charged. So,
Right.
We had the lights up. We put the lights up at the end of the night. We stayed there until they came on, and the client was absolutely blown away.
Right.
Just like, wow, this is amazing. So they're very happy, and they want actually 10 more.
Wow. And there's a shot of the night sky, and you can see kind of how bright it makes those areas around them, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So-
And if you're actually there on the ground, it's very, very bright. What's really nice about those lights is that they'll stay on at 100% for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, they cut down to 60. They'll stay on for a certain period of time, cut down to 30. They'll stay at 30%. The moment somebody walks in front of it, it goes back up to 100% and starts to cycle over.
I see.
So it acts as a security
Sure.
light as well. So
Right.
and then there's different functions on those as well. That's just one of them.
Right. But I guess that's part of all what this new technology means. There's a lot more choices, a lot more configurations, I guess, for these types of products, right? So when you're talking to your clients, you can provide them with all these different types of scenarios, right?
Oh yeah.
Of what they need.
What's really nice about those is that you can put them in places where you've never had lights before, because you don't have a power grid or any type of electric line.
Right. You've done that too. But the other thing is, I guess you could put them in where there are powered lights and cut that
And
bill
cut
every
costs.
month.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's what
absolutely.
you've done with this case, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of places in San Juan County on the reservation and off the reservation that could certainly use this technology, whether they're on the power grid or not.
Yes. Like, for example, there is Analytical school. They have electricity up to a certain area, but there's a long road that goes down that they don't have any power. So something like this, if you stagger them down the road, they'll illuminate the street
Right.
very well.
Very cool. And what would you say the cost comparison is to install these compared to the regular old electric street lights if you had to tie it to the grid?
So, for example, we'll use the shopping center, for example. Their monthly bill in itself is $3,500 a month. Okay.
Right, the power bill.
So, in order for us to do that specific job, I believe we're sitting right about $7,000. So within 2 months of them using,
They paid for themselves.
it paid for themselves.
Got it. Okay. I'm not a
Yeah.
math guy, but even I could figure that out, especially at 8 in the morning.
That's a rough estimate. So
Okay.
the lights, they vary in prices
Mm-hmm.
depending on how powerful they are. For that specific light was about $1,100 each.
I see.
So that gives you kind of a rough estimate of what your investment is to
Right.
put those in.
And it looks like, again, from just watching the video, that you were able to maybe use the existing poles
Yes.
in that parking lot and just retrofit the lights at the top. Was that
Yes.
the idea? I bet that would save some money too.
Oh yeah,
obviously.
yeah. It has saved a lot of money in the installation costs, man hours, labors, and everything else. Initially, if you're going to install something like that as a permanent fixture, you would chop that pole off and stick it right on top.
Right.
But the client wanted the lights to remain there, so that in case they could use them again, it would be there. So we just
The electric lights.
The electric
Plus
lights.
your
Yes,
solar.
yes.
Okay.
So we just retrofit the brackets. We fabricated the brackets, put them on there, and good to go.
Gotcha.
So that was one way we were able to cut the cost and make it, inexpensive for them to
Right.
purchase.
To put it out there. So, but it works in all different scenarios, then I guess.
Yes, yeah. Depending what you got, if you got a building, you got a wooden pole, you got steel poles, we can pretty much retrofit anything.
Very good. Now, your business started by not necessarily with businesses, but with families, right? Isn't that kind of how things got started for you and your business, by getting lights out into places that didn't have electricity?
Yeah, so we started off with the Light of Hope project. We're still continuing it now. It was put on hold because of the pandemic, and my family's from the Naize area, Naize, New Mexico, and I spent some time out there and kind of looked around. It's like, wow, there's no lights, there's no power. Certain people, it's kind of staggered. There's staggered area. People don't have lights, don't have power. So
Right.
I put out the GoFundMe page. We purchased some lights, and we went out and put little solar street lights, little tiny street lights out there, and it worked well.
And you found a partner that does generators, right, to be able to store some of this power too, correct?
Yeah, so whenever we were moving deeper into the Light of Hope project, I wanted to put solar generators out there. So I researched a couple of different companies, and I came across one company, which is the Nature's Generator. I emailed the company, and the vice president actually emailed me back and says, wow, I really like what you're doing here. This is some really good stuff. How can I help? So that kind of kicked off a series of conversations back and forth, and we just got more and more into it. And he says, I want you to be one of our resellers so we can help you get out there. And so we did. We became a reseller, and as a token of his appreciation for what we were doing, he donated an actual unit. And then he said, we take this unit, give it to a family that needs it, and let's just make some people happy.
Right.
And I said, sure, let me find somebody. So I reached out to the CHR of the chapter house in, I believe it was in Counselors, New Mexico. And she tells me, I've got a family for you. It's a family of 5. They have 3 children. One of the daughters is disabled, and they don't have any power. They they have gas generated power.
Okay, right.
And we
just regular old gasoline generator, like we would see. Right. Okay.
And the family has gone through, in 14 years, they've gone through 18 gasoline generators.
Wow. Gets a lot of use, I imagine. Gets a lot of use.
That's a lot, yeah.
Right. And I think you sent me a video, didn't you?
I did,
Of
yeah.
this family too? Mm-hmm. And so we've got that. Let me play that while we're talking about it here a little bit. But I know you kind of narrate it here as well. But we can kind of talk about it. Look, you're a star in your own videos.
Right. Yeah. So this year I did kind of a little vlog series kind of explaining what we're about to do.
Right. Of getting things ready to go out to this family in Counselors, as you mentioned. Mm-hmm. And so these generators are, I don't know, I guess the size of maybe a cooler?
Yeah,
is that how you describe it? Maybe it's not really
so.
big.
They're about 12 by 10 by maybe 12.
Okay.
It holds a 90 amp hour battery inside.
Mm-hmm.
It can be charged by a solar panel that's supplied with the unit.
Right.
You can also buy an additional wind turbine. So if you want to charge it during the night, it'll charge that way as well.
Got it.
These units are stackable and expandable. So you can purchase what are called power pods, which is basically just another unit next to the main. Stick that on top of them, and they run parallel.
Interesting.
And you can daisy chain them for as long as you want.
And that just increases the capacity, increases the storage, increases the what
it
you can
doesn't
use it for, I suppose.
It doesn't increase the amount of power it can put out, but how long it'll run.
The time, I understand.
Right.
So there's a picture of it for our viewers who are watching. As you can kind of see, it looks like just like a cooler, I would say.
Yeah, it looks
about the size of a cooler.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and again, to be clear, your company doesn't manufacture these. You've partnered with this Nature's Generator to
is correct.
use these with the other things that you do manufacture.
That is correct.
And that's the light part of the story.
The storage, the solar charging unit is what we actually manufacture.
Right.
And the lights we get from a vendor.
Gotcha.
As well.
Interesting. And so here you are, you're explaining kind of what's going on. I'll up the volume here a little bit, folks can hear.
Honestly. So I don't have any doubts that this little device will give them exactly what they need, especially if they don't have anything at all. It's going to be a game changer. Their lives are going to be completely changed by this. And all this thanks to Nature's Generator. Greg Adams donated the unit, told us get it out there. Make them families happy. So today is Friday. It is about 12:15 p.m. right now. I'm gonna give you another update tomorrow. We're gonna take the drive out. We're gonna have a film crew there. We're gonna film the entire installation, create a small documentary on what we're doing and what we're trying to do. And,
so there you are. That's the setup, basically, of how you're getting ready to get out there. And I think this will show us heading out there. And some of these images kind of show you just how far some folks live on the reservation, off the reservation. But there's nothing. I mean, it's beautiful, but there's nothing. There's no power lines. There's no telephone poles, anything like that.
Yeah,
you can see for miles.
It's a sight that people don't really see hardly ever.
Right.
Which was one reason why I wanted to do these videos, to kind of show this is what it looks like. These are the conditions that they live in.
Right. And I know these. I mean, like anyone, we love our home. We love where we live, and there's maybe some family connections, some traditions that of why people live where they live. They're really bound to that land.
Right. Yeah. Most of the I would say about 98% of the time it's carried down.
Generational. Yeah.
So whenever a leaseholder passes on, they pass it down to the family, and then they still live there, and it just keeps going and going and going and going. So.
Right. And of course, as we can see there from the drone footage, I assume that's a drone.
Yeah.
That or you didn't rent a helicopter or something or plane, but you've got room for horses and livestock and things like that. So you got a lot of land, and that's another big reason why people live where they live.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So. But this is great. And so this is just one example of the projects that you've been doing, but you continue to do these types of things, correct? Was for these families?
Yeah, so as funding comes available, then we actually go out and we'll do them. So we actually donate our time to go out and do these. The cost that comes in is just for the materials themselves. It's it's just something that's kind of really close to my heart, and so
Sure.
I want to make sure that I do my part to kind of help.
Right.
So,
Which is awesome. And again, there's a lot of families I know that could use the help and are very grateful. I imagine this family, once you got all the installation done, were very grateful for what you brought out to their home.
So what's really cool about this family here is that they don't have any type of refrigeration. They have 2 large coolers that whenever they get their supplemental income at the every month, they go and buy large amounts of ice.
Okay.
And they fill these ice chests. Well, that's how they store their perishable goods, is in these ice chests. But everybody knows how long ice lasts.
Right.
So with this particular unit, you can run a mini fridge on this unit for 24 hours.
Nice.
By itself. That's without any sunlight. It'll run just 24 hours. So after we put that in, he asked about it, and I said, yes, absolutely. It'll run a small refrigerator. You'll be able to store your goods, and they're like, oh wow, we can finally get a refrigerator. I mean, it's a little mini fridge, but
yeah.
I mean, we take all this stuff for granted.
Sure.
And to them it was everything. And now they can go buy packed meat and store this little fridge and excuse me, and hold it for a couple weeks.
Right.
And
something we wouldn't think twice about.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So his next thing was he's going to go out and try to find a mini fridge.
Right, there you go. Very good. My guest this morning, Ken Augustine, is here. He is with Analytical Technologies, and I assume president of Analytical Technologies, the founder of Analytical Technologies. This is a company that is based here at the San Juan College Enterprise Center, and again, is one of those success stories, I think, of what the Enterprise Center was designed for, is to help these new emerging companies to get their feet on the ground and work there. And you have, a 5-year lease up at the Enterprise Center?
We have a 5-year lease, yeah. And I would encourage anybody right now, because the dynamics of business has changed because of the pandemic. So business isn't run like it traditionally was. So if you have an idea out there, come out to the Enterprise Center, talk to Carmen, talk to somebody, and get a business started, because your success rate has pretty much doubled at this time.
Right. A lot of opportunity.
A lot of opportunities. If you have an idea, go out there, get it done, open up shop, and just go, 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 go.
There you go. And I would think that they would have folks up there that would say, if maybe you don't have all your ducks in a row, maybe you've got most of your ducks in a row, they would maybe say, well, go back, figure out this part of your plan, and then come back and talk to us, and we can get you going.
Yes, and they'll go one step farther. They'll actually hold your hand and walk you through each step.
Nice. Well, that's what some people need, which is important, and so that you don't just leap. Look before you leap and get into trouble maybe down the road.
Absolutely. It was just like I was saying. I mean, I could not have made it this far without the help of the Enterprise Center, the SBDC, everybody that's in conjunction with that program. They all played a part in where I'm at right now, where the company sits right now.
Sure. Now, with this company that you're doing, Ken Augustine, let me ask you a little bit about what's next. And we hear a lot about renewable energy and renewable, and it sounds like what you're doing is kind of a smaller scale as to what maybe the utilities are looking at, which is these solar fields and being able to store this energy. And we always hear that maybe storage isn't quite up to snuff to be able to store this energy for long periods of time, but it sounds like the technology is getting better all the time.
Yeah, the technology is actually getting way better. So you have different levels of batteries. You have what are called sealed lead acid batteries, which are SLA. Those are kind of the bottom lower tier. Mm-hmm. Then you have absorbent glass mat, which is kind of the mid battery, which is what are in these generators. Okay. And then you have the upper echelon, which are the lithium ion batteries, which are the top dog. They're used in medical devices, and they have.
Is that what our cell phones have?
Yes,
right.
Yes, okay. And their performance on them just blow everything else away. But it comes with a huge price.
Right.
And if it can afford them, definitely go with that route. But the next best thing would be AGMs, which are the absorbent glass mats.
Gotcha.
The technology it's getting there, but it's just not up to where we need it to be.
Right.
To be fully independent of any type of fossil fuels. We're always going to need it.
Fossil fuels.
Fossil fuels.
Right.
Yeah. But with if you put the two together, we can make a lot of things happen and lower emissions, and we can do a lot of stuff.
Exactly. It's exciting. It's an exciting time, but I know it's a little bit frustrating for folks who hear about all these different options and things that are out there. So what's next for you? Or just keep on doing what you're doing? We talked about the charging stations, which certainly we all use our cell phones, and we were talking before we came on the air this morning of now with virtual learning and kids at home on laptops and needing Wi-Fi and things like that. I guess having some place to recharge, would be great.
Yeah, I think right now we're always going to continue on with the Light of Hope project. I think that's something that's I'm going to keep alive for a very long time. We're going to keep moving on with the charging stations. We're going to develop them to be better, more efficient, cheaper, cost effective. The unit we have now is our first. It's the Mark I, so they can only get better from here. We have plans of working with a contractor on the reservation for 2021. So we've got a lot of things that are ahead of us at this time, and it's pretty exciting for us right now.
Right. But you can't give all this stuff away, right?
No.
Stay in business. You've got to be able to have some money coming in the door, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Lights of Hope are great and all that, but they don't help pay the bills necessarily.
Yeah, the only project that we're actually trying to give them away is the Light of Hope project, and that's where we donate our time to put those out
Nice.
there. The only thing that we need is for funding for to purchase these devices, and they're not cheap, and I can't afford to buy them all the time. So.
Sure, but the other things you're talking about, like these street lights that you showed us, and these charging stations, those are your other lines of business at the moment.
Yes. So if you need street lights, if you want to light up an area, give me a call. I'll get you a quote. We'll do some photometrics. And
now, what does that mean? You mentioned that term before, and I was like, I've never heard that before.
Photometrics are basically, they take an aerial view, and they'll give you the amount of light that one specific device would put out.
Okay.
And it'll show you from the highest illuminations to the lowest how far it spreads out.
I gotcha. So you can help me calculate maybe how many lights I would need for the size of my parking lot, baseball field, basketball court, whatever we're talking about.
Yeah. So if you got a huge area, you need to say, okay, well, I need X amount of square footage lit up here, here, and here. Then you do the photometrics, which every light fixture has.
I see. Sure.
What direction does it ray out to? How big, how wide, how narrow, how
right. And you mentioned too that you've got the different intensities, I suppose. So at 100%, you're lighting up this much. At 60%, it might be a little smaller circle.
Yeah, it basically dims down by percentages. So the lights that are actually in that parking lot are 80-watt lights at 12,000 lumens. That's measured in candle lights,
so it's still lighting up the same amount of space. It's just a dimmer light.
Yes, and they come in different sizes. I mean, they can go up to 160 watts, which is I think it's almost an insane amount. 25K lumens, which is extremely bright. You don't look into those. You
that's
just
true.
don't.
Exactly.
So.
Well, fascinating. Well, it's great, and much success to you. It sounds like things are going great, and I always appreciate you coming in to share what you're doing in the community and for some very great families and others too, and to do it all here from the Enterprise Center, which is great.
Yeah, it's I enjoy doing it. It's just it's something that means a lot to me, and I want to kind of encompass everybody that's helped me. So if I missed anybody out there, don't hate me for it.
Right, that's true.
I tried to remember everybody I could.
There you go. But he'll be back, so you can get a shout out then. So how's that?
Special thanks to everybody. Thank you.
That covers it. Very good. Well, Ken, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Always great to visit with you. Ken Augustine, again, the business is Analytical Technologies. It is based here at San Juan College at the Enterprise Center. And I'll be back with more in just a moment this morning. This is KSJE.
What's truth got to do with it? From American Public Media, this is Marketplace Tech. I'm Sabri Benishore in from Hollywood.
market